Good morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This is liveweatherblogs.com meteorologist Bob Acarfrio with today's tropical update for October 28, 2010. Well, we have a couple areas to watch out in the tropics in this late season here as we start winding down the 2010 season. We actually have three invests to watch in the Atlantic today. First off, we have Invest 90L way out here in the Central Atlantic. No threat to anybody with this system, but once I go through all these invests, this one actually has the best area of low pressure with it, but a lot of shear, a lot of westerly shear with this right now. The center is exposed right in here, so we're seeing about 20 to 30 knots of westerly shear shearing off the thunderstorms. The National Hurricane Center gives this one a 50% chance of development. If the shear does drop with this system, this one does definitely have the best chance to develop quickly because of the tight area of low pressure involved with it. We'll have to see. There is a little window in the next day or two where the shear could drop just very quickly before this trough will advance to the east and then again pick the system up and kick it out to sea, and that would be the end of it. But there is a little window in the next 24 to 48 hours, so watch this carefully. Like I said, just a little change in the wind shear would cause this one to develop. This one's definitely more tropical, not subtropical, so this one would be a pure tropical system here. So again, it has a little window in the next day or two to develop. We'll have to see if the shear drops on that one. The next one we have is Invest 91L. This is just a pretty potent tropical wave for this time of year. No low pressure attached to it yet. This will be one to watch when it gets into the Caribbean next week. The models have been trying to develop a system here in the Central Caribbean next week. They're not as excited with this system as they were a week ago, but we will, since we have this vigorous tropical wave here that will be moving into the Caribbean, we'll watch this carefully down the road for development. And this time of year, especially as we get into the beginning of November, the northern islands here will have to watch this, because instead of these systems going straight west, as these troughs of low pressure move off the east coast, they tend to hook it up to the north. So, you know, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Jamaica, Cuba, even the Bahamas, this whole area in here will have to watch for these systems beginning of November that do develop in the Caribbean. So we'll be watching this one. And then our next system here, you look at this one, you're like, wow, look at this guy out here. This is Invest 92L. And this one's more subtropical in nature. It's kind of attached, interacting with an upper level low in here. Starting to get an area of low pressure involved with it as well. So upper low combined with the area of low pressure. This is more subtropical in nature. This one could get pretty close to Bermuda in the next couple days. What's going to happen is we have our trough moving off the east coast pretty slowly here. So this is going to move west-northwest, then northwest, then north, and then hook pretty close to Bermuda. So those that living in Bermuda need to watch this system the next few days, as it could develop into a subtropical or tropical system. I'm thinking more subtropical in nature. If it does get a name, if any of these do get a name, the next name is Sherry on the list here. So I'm thinking more like this one's going to develop better than 90L at this point. But again, if the wind shear did die down with this one does have a better chance. But I'm thinking this is going to be the one to watch right here for a name and for development. And again, the only threat would be it getting pretty close to Bermuda in a couple days. And again, looking at the wind shear here, you can see shear is pretty high here with this system here, 91L. So again, don't see this developing now. This is something to watch later. Again, shear pretty light around our system here, 92L, southeast of Bermuda. So, and you see there's an upper level low attached with this system. So this will be the shot to get subtropical development. And you can see the westerly shear shearing off our 90L right now here. And again, this is where 92L is going to go. It's going to go right around this area, this subtropical high, and right around it. This subtropical high is going to be pushing east as this trough pushes east as well. So again, getting pretty close to Bermuda in a couple days. Going through all the early run models, here's 90L again. This one's going out to sea. This one's not going to affect anybody. That same trough that's moving off the east coast is going to eventually kick this guy out to sea. 91L again, early run models. Again, this one's going to get into the Caribbean eventually, and then we'll see if it could develop down the road. And then we have 92L again. It's going to take that same hook out to sea, but this one could get pretty close to Bermuda. Right now it's looking like most of the models pass it to the east of Bermuda, but again, if you're living across the Bermuda, you guys seem to have been the target this season so far. And it's funny, though, one of the last systems that could develop for the season wants to threaten Bermuda again. Pretty crazy, but again, most of the models are taking it just east of Bermuda. Alright, so some of the global models here, we'll take this. So you see the GFS, this is the GFS bringing this system just east of Bermuda. Then we're going to have all eyes out here in the Central Caribbean next week, to the middle to the end of next week. You can see it's trying to develop an area of low pressure out here, but doesn't do much with it. You saw the model runs last week really cranking a system out here. I'm going to run this back into motion again because we're going to see what's going to happen along the East Coast next week. Middle to the end of next week is going to get very interesting along the East Coast, and maybe a drought buster here for the South. Let's hope so. You're going to see this first upper low, close low really get cranking here in the southeast, and then this one's going to push off the East Coast. Then we're going to have another one push off the East Coast, and then finally a last one towards the middle of November get off the East Coast. Each one of these is actually going to push down colder and colder air, and you know, this is way out in the extended period. But boy, if this GFS verifies, this last area of low pressure that moves off the East Coast could actually have some snow with it. But this is our first system. Nice close low in the southeast, up the East Coast. Drop down another one up the East Coast. And then finally the last one. And that's the one that drags down the colder air. And that could get interesting for the Northeast for snow for the middle of, towards the middle of November. So very interesting pattern there. The GFS is much more amplified than the Euro right now. And also, this could have some effects for even some severe weather across Florida by the end of next week. So, very interesting pattern trying to develop. The GFS is really amplifying the trough along the East Coast here for the as we move into November. So, again, getting away from the tropics for a minute, but that could get very interesting pattern. And then here's the Euro, and the Euro is not as amplified as you could see. Look at this beginning of the week. Yeah, we do have an area of low pressure out there, but it's not really as amplified as the GFS has been. And then you can see it tries to develop an area of low pressure here in the Central Caribbean. Again, not as excited with it. Again, the global models were much more excited with this system in the Central Caribbean last week. UK Met model, just going to show you where 92L may go. And again, here it comes. And then again, pretty close to the island of Bermuda here before moving off to the northeast. HWRF model, again, pretty close to Bermuda as it hooks off to them. So you see the trend with 92L is getting it pretty close to Bermuda and then out to sea. And then this is really the only model that really develops 91L right now, as HWRF tries to crank this system in the Eastern Caribbean. So and I don't put much weight in these models, especially the GFDL HWRF, before even a storm develops. But just to show you, there is some possibilities here in the Central Caribbean. And again, the Northern Islands will have to definitely just keep your eye on this over the weekend and through early next week to see if something does develop. It could be one of our last little areas to develop this season, so we'll be watching for that. Well, that's it for my tropical update today. I will have another update for you guys tomorrow morning. Stay tuned to liveweatherblogs.com for all your latest weather information. Have a good day.